You may have a customer who is also your supplier, and both has got outstanding amount owing to each other, and to contra each other's bill. There will be three situations that may arise. First is when the amount owing to each other is the same. The second situation is when the supplier owes your company more than what your company owes the supplier. In this case, the supplier will have to issue a check to your company to pay off the balance of the two amounts. And the third situation is when your company owes the supplier more than what the supplier owes your company. In this case, your company will have to issue a check to pay off the balance. In the first scenario, whereby the contra amount is the same between the customer and supplier, at the bank and check field, enter the word contra. Next, at the bank passcode, click the magnifying glass. Highlight the contra account and click select. Click offset. Select the invoice that both parties agrees to contra against each other. Click OK. At the remarks field here, enter some text or narrations. For example, contra against your invoice 67884. Enter the amount to contra of 535. Click Save. Click Print Later. Click OK. Go to Payment Now and click Add Supplier. Enter the supplier ID ABC, who is also your customer. At the bank passcode, click the magnifying glass, highlight contra and click select. Enter the contra amount 535 and click offset button. Select the supplier's invoice 67884, click OK. Enter the remarks contra against our invoice 03487. Click Save. Click Print Later. Now go to Enquiry, GL Enquiry, and select GL Account Activity. Enter the contra account. Click Retrieve Data. And the amount 535 is appearing on both the debit and credit side of the contra account, and the balance amount in the contra is 0. You have successfully learned how to contra your invoice against your supplier's invoice of the same amount. The second scenario will be the supplier's invoice amount is less than your company's invoice amount. In this case, the supplier, who is also your customer, will need to issue a check to your company for the balance amount of the contra. Enter the bank and check number. At the bank passcode, select your company's bank and enter the check amount. Next, enter the contra amount. Highlight on the contra account and click select. The contra amount will be 535 against the supplier's invoice. In the remarks field, type the information. Next, click the offset button. Assuming the customer agrees to contra against this invoice and the balance amount paid in the check, double click on this cell and click OK. In this transaction, the contra amount is 535 and the balance will be paid in a check of 1203.75. Click Save. Click Print Later. Click OK. Next, go to account entry and click payment. Click add supplier. Call out the supplier ID, who is also your customer ID. At the bank passcode, click the magnifying glass, highlight on the Contra and click select. Enter the Contra amount 535. At the bank and check field, type the word Contra. Next, click offset. Select this supplier invoice number that the supplier agrees to use this to offset against your company's invoice. Double click on this field and click OK. Enter the remark Contra against our invoice 03487. Once complete, click Save. Click Print Later. OK. At the Inquiry field, click GL Inquiry, GL Account Activity. Select Contra account. Press Enter. Click Select. Notice that the amount 535 is both appearing on the debit and credit side against the supplier and the customer's accounts. And the balance of the Contra is always 0. You have successfully learned how to Contra against a customer and supplier's accounts when the customer's accounts is more than the supplier's balance. In the third scenario, whereby your invoice to your customer is less than your supplier's invoice to your company. At the receipt module, enter Contra. At bank passcode, click the magnifying glass, highlight Contra, and click Select. Enter the Contra amount or your invoice amount to your customer. At the remarks here, enter the narration Contra against your invoice 24676. Next, click Offset. Assuming your company agrees to Contra with your supplier of your invoice 3487 of the amount 535 against their invoice 24676. Double click on this field and click OK. Once complete, click Save. Click Print Later. OK. After the Contra entry in the receipt module, click the payment module. Click Add Supplier. Enter the supplier ID, who is also your customer ID. At the bank passcode, click the magnifying glass, highlight on Contra, and click Select. Enter the Contra amount 535. At bank and check field, enter the word Contra. Next, click Offset. The supplier has agreed to use the invoice number 24676 to Contra against your invoice 3487. Double click on this field, and the balance amount of 965 will have to be issued from the company's accounts to pay this supplier at a later transaction. Click OK. At the remarks here, type Contra against our invoice 03487. Once complete, click Save. Click Print Later. OK. Continue to call out this supplier ID. Now you are going to issue a check to pay out the balance of the invoice amount. Tap 1 to call out your bank account. Enter the balance amount. Enter a company's check number. Next, click Offset. Highlight this invoice number and pay off the balance amount of this invoice after the Contra of 535. Click OK. Enter the remarks. Click Save. Click Print Later. OK. Exit. You have successfully learned how to contra your company's invoice against your supplier's invoice and at the same time issue the balance payment to your supplier.